Jake here for American Muscle, and today I'm taking a look at the C&L Super Sport front brake rotor and pad kit fitting 2015 and newer standard Mustang EcoBoost and V6 models. Now before we dive in too deep here folks, I just want to take a moment to note that these will not fit your car if it happens to be equipped with the performance package. Brakes are some of the most important components on your vehicle, and if you're gonna go fast, you need to be able to stop quickly too. So if you're in need of a way to stop faster or just replace your stock front brakes, these are an excellent way to improve your Mustang's braking performance without blowing out the budget. Now, traditionally, manufacturers will equip their cars with solid discs from the factory, as is the case in the non-performance pack Mustangs. And while those work just fine for most applications, there is definitely room for improvement. And one of the best ways to do that is by upgrading to a set of drilled and slotted rotors like these. These are going to be extremely helpful in dissipating heat. Heat is the enemy of braking performance, and that's where these channels and the holes in the faces of the rotors come in. As you apply the brakes, friction and heat builds up on the pads and the faces of the rotors, and those channels help funnel that heat away from the pads themselves. The holes also allow for another escape route where heat can dissipate through and get funneled out of the rotors through these central veins. So all those hot gases have plenty of places through which to escape. Less heat means less chance of fading and better overall braking response. And if you've ever had brakes get hot on you on the street or on the track, you know how scary of an experience that can be. So doing everything you can to mitigate that is worth it. Now that's all to say you're gonna get much better heat dissipation here, also thanks to the proprietary ceramic compound in these pads. So this is gonna give you much better braking performance over stock. Those veins and holes are also gonna help keep dust and debris like water off of the faces of the rotors, making for smooth, consistent operation no matter the conditions. And again, combine that with these Super Sport ceramic pads, you're gonna get maximum bite, quiet operation, and low dust. Now the rotors here are constructed from CNC machined premium cast iron, so they are similar in construction to your standard OEM brakes. These are also perfectly mill balanced to prevent against vibration, noise, and uneven wear, which is great, especially when you've got something heavy like cast iron. These are also finished in a bright zinc electroplating to help prevent against rust and corrosion for a long time to come. But that cast iron construction means that the price stays low. The pads here are also made of a proprietary ceramic compound that again is designed to produce a consistent, solid bite and also resist fade. Pricing for the set as you see it here is gonna come in at about $225, and that makes it the least expensive set of drilled and slotted front brakes for this gen of Mustang. So the kit is a great value. You get excellent stopping power and more performance versus stock. Installation is gonna come in at a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter and should only take you about 2 hours to get this completed. This is a direct bolt-on replacement for your stock pads and rotors, and this is something that can certainly be accomplished at home in the driveway or garage. You're not gonna need any special tools, just might take you some time. And to show you that process now, let's head over to the install bay.
The tools you'll need for this project are a ratchet, a 14 and a 15 millimeter socket, a brake caliper compression tool, some brake cleaner, a clean cloth, and the supplied brake lubricant. Hi everyone, today we're installing a set of brakes on our Mustang, so let's get started with the uninstall. All right, first thing we're gonna do after you get the vehicle properly supported, either on a lift or on a pair of jack stands, and you've removed your wheel and tire, we're gonna remove our caliper. And to do that, there's 2 bolts in the back here, one at the top, one at the bottom. We're gonna use our 14 millimeter socket, take those bolts out, and then we'll hang our caliper to prevent any damage to the brake line, and then we can take off the caliper mounting bracket, and then finally our rotor. So we're gonna use our 14 millimeter socket to take out this upper bolt that holds the caliper to the caliper mounting bracket. Now we'll remove the one at the bottom. Now we'll slide the caliper straight out. Now we're gonna hang our caliper right up here to take the tension off of the brake hose so it doesn't get damaged. Now we can slide our pads out away from the mounting bracket. We've got one in the front and one in the back. We will remove the 2 bolts that hold the caliper mounting bracket to the steering spindle using our 15 millimeter socket. And now we can remove our rotor simply by sliding it straight out off of the studs. Next thing we're going to do is remove the retaining clips from the caliper mounting bracket, install some new ones, as well as a new wear indicator for the new pads. So to remove these retaining clips, all we have to do is just push them away from the caliper mounting bracket, and they should just pop right off. Now once those are off, we can install the new ones simply by pressing them back into place. Now the other thing we're going to do is install a new wear indicator on the pads. So we're going to do this on the inside pad, and we're going to place it so that the long side of this wear indicator is towards the back of the pad. And again, this is spring loaded, so all we've got to do is just push it into place. Now, next thing we're going to do is use the supplied lubricant that comes with the pads, and we're going to lubricate our guide pins and the back of the pads just to make sure that things work a little smoothly. So what you're going to do is grab a hold of the seal around the guide pin, hold it down while you remove the guide pin, and then you're going to take a little bit of this lube, put it on the guide pin, and put it back in and make sure that the seal is attached to the guide pin. Now, since we're not making this a permanent addition to our vehicle, we're not actually going to lube them up. But once you get those lubed, then you can take your pad, a little bit of the lube, put it on the back side as well as the ends to make sure that they slide inside the retaining clips. Now we can go back to the car. All right, next thing we're going to need to do is we're going to have to compress our pistons back inside the caliper, simply due to the fact that our new pads and our new rotor are going to be thicker than what came off of the vehicle. So we're just going to take one of the old pads, set it in front of the pistons like so, and then use this caliper compression tool that you can rent at most auto parts stores relatively cheap, if not for free. Replace this inside the caliper like so, and then we're just going to squeeze the handle and compress those pistons back inside the caliper. Now you just keep squeezing until it stops and won't go any further. Press the release handle on the tool, and now our pistons are completely compressed inside the caliper. Now, since these rotors are drilled and slotted, you want to make sure that you've got the correct rotor for the correct side of the vehicle. One way you can tell that is by looking at the slots and possibly the holes and see which direction they're going in. Looking from the center of the rotor, where the slot begins and it goes towards the outside, as long as that is pointing towards the rear of the vehicle, you've got the correct one. Now, another way that you can tell, sometimes the manufacturer will put a sticker on the front of the rotor to tell you which side it goes on, but it's also stamped on the outer edge of the rotor right after the part number. It will have either an R or an L on it to tell you right side or left side. Right side is for the passenger, left is for the driver. Now, next thing you do before you put this on is to clean this rotor to make sure that you get on any kind of contaminants that may have gotten on it during shipping or left over from the manufacturing process. So we'll just use some brake cleaner and a clean cloth to wipe it down real good, and then we can put it on the vehicle. Now you want to make sure also that you get the front and the back side. And now we can get this installed on the vehicle. So now we can go ahead and put our rotor back over top of our wheel studs. And one of the things I like to do is just install one of the lug nuts just to hold it in place while we're putting the rest of it back together. So we're going to reinstall our caliper mounting bracket using the original hardware. Now we'll tighten them down with our 15 millimeter socket. Now we can install our pads, making sure that the inside pad has our wear indicator at the bottom. Now we can install our caliper, reusing the original hardware. We'll just slide those over the pads. And then we'll tighten them down using our 14 millimeter socket. Now you can repeat this whole process for the other side. Once you've got both sides installed, make sure you torque everything down to manufacturer's recommended specs, and then follow the manufacturer's recommended break-in procedure for your brakes. And that wraps up our review and install of the C&L Super Sport cross-drilled and slotted brake rotor and pad kit for the front of your 15 to 23 Mustang EcoBoost without performance pack and V6. Thanks for watching, and remember, for all things Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.